Are you tired of the Roblox homepage filled with brainrot garbage? Well, these are 100 Roblox games that are super underrated and you have probably never heard of before. If you find a game you like, subscribe. Game 1, Arms of Solitaire. This is a shooter game, but you can actually build. It's like Bed Wars, but a shooter. You can even dig to bases, and the visuals look really nice. Game 2, Shockwave Racing. It's a first-person parkour racing game with physics-based movement. It's randomly generated, so it never gets tiring, which makes it super fun. Game 3, Airship Assault. In this war game, you and your team are fighting another team. You can choose to defend your airship and repair damages, or be a pilot flying over to the enemy airship, damaging their engines and taking out their crew members. The airship starts falling once it takes enough damage, and you win. Game 4, Idiotic Investing. This is a party game where you draw art, then auction and bid on each other's drawings to make money. Sometimes you profit big, and other times you go broke. And there's voice acting.
Nice job!
Game 5, Vampire Hunters 3. In this game, a random player is chosen to be a vampire who must kill all the survivors before the night ends. The vampire is disguised as a survivor, and there's a random hunter chosen as well who has a gun. But it's super difficult since the vampires have super strength, speed, and abilities. Game 6, Unorthodox Accounting. In this game, you're fighting the IRS since you didn't pay your taxes. The weapons are super fun to use since you can fly with them. And it's really fun with friends if you have any. Game 7, Untitled Bakery. In this game, you work in a 1800s bakery and bake many desserts for customers. It's super relaxing and cozy. Game 8, Pixel Gun Tower Defense 3. This is a tower defense game, but you defend using the guns and gadgets from Pixel Gun 3D. And as you progress, you buy more guns and characters. Game 9, Hover Ride Alpha. In this game, you race with a slippery machine. You run into water for fuel, and there are boost pads that launch you. It's super fast-paced and really fun. Game 10, Crossovers. It's a fighting game where you play as characters from other popular Roblox games. You even play in the classic maps, and have 4 unique abilities. Game 11, Monster Slayer. In this game, you kill mobs for XP, and when you level up, you get options for perks. As you get more XP, you get more OP, but the mobs around you get stronger and stronger. Game 12, Blood, Sweat and Pixels. This is a pixel fighting game in which you're given 3 random pixel style items, and your goal is to fight players and have the most amount of kills to win. Game 13, Rebound. This game is Rocket League mixed with Blade Ball combined. You use a bat to hit the ball towards the goal post, and the movement is super fun. Game 14, Just Hold On. In this game, you're running for your life on a conveyor belt and dodging random obstacles. Your goal is to stay on for as long as possible and outlast other people. Game 15, Brawler. This game is Super Smash Bros. But on Roblox. You choose from many characters to play as. Your goal is to knock people off, and there are many maps. Game 16, Hotline Blocks. It's a single-player 2.5D shooter game which is fast-paced and super unique. You start off bare-handed, and after fighting, you get a weapon like a hockey stick and eventually a gun. And I love the art style of the game. Game 17, Deocophobia. It's a tag game in which 7 players are selected as hunters and 2 are selected as survivors. Your goal as survivors is to dodge the hunters and activate all the buttons in the map to win. Game 18, Word Bomb. In this game, you have to type in a word with the letter it gives you to pass the bomb onto someone else. The bomb takes faster and faster, and if you take too long to type, you lose. Game 19, Paint Everything Red. No, this game is not about painting. It's about, in this game, you get to hit people in many different ways, like using chairs, plates, bottles, and so much more. Game 20, Astartes. It's a realistic Warhammer game which doesn't even look like Roblox. You fight players with different mech that use hammers or guns, and it's super cool. Game 21, Yoinks. In this game, you and your friend yoink each other to progress through the obbies. As you progress, you unlock more worlds to progress in. Game 22, Wings of Glory. It's an aircraft combat game in which you do 16v16 battles. There are more than 130 aircrafts, from early World War II fighters to modern jets. Game 23, Noob Adventure. It's a fast-paced Sonic-type story game in which you experience a fight between heroes and villains and get to choose to save the world or conquer it. The game gives lots of Sonic vibes and is super cool. Game 24, Weird Gun Game. It's a shooter game in which you build your own special weapon by combining parts of very different guns, like combining rifle parts with a sniper. It's really simple too and has classic maps and weapons. Game 25, Snowball Migration. You're a snowball and have to progress through different wild natures, and the movement is super fun. Game 26, Elemental Chaos. This is a fighting game that has different elements with different abilities like water, air, fire, earth, and a lot more. Game 27, AI War Red vs Blue. This is a robot war game in which players are part of Blue Team, fighting against the Red Team, which are infected by AI. You can play as swordsmen, tanks, lasers, and so much more. Your objective is to defend your base, and as you progress, the Red Team gets stronger and stronger. Game 28, The Hybrid Cafe. In this game, you have a new cafe job, but you have to deal with aggressive people in many ways. The game is both chill and chaotic. Game 29, High Tides. It's a simple retro game in which you play as a pirate. There's team red and blue, and your goal is to defend your ship or attack the enemy ship. There's more game modes too, like Capture the Point and Free for All. Game 30, Crazy Stairs. In this game, you have to choose one of many different alignments that make different type of stairs, like making stairs, moving stairs, teleporting, and so much more. Your goal is to reach to the top with every type of stair. Game 31, Hourglass. This is a shooter game where you can slow down time to dodge bullets. There's no reloading and you have to kill people for a newly loaded gun. As you progress, it gets more difficult and the game is super cool. Game 32, Pizza Game. This is a single player shooter game that is nothing about pizzas. You're put in a town and have to fight for your life. As you progress, you unlock better weapons and eventually fight bosses. Game 33, Arcane Odyssey. It's an RPG game set in a magic polluted world where you take parts in conflicts between kingdoms for powerful artifacts. Game 34, Mini Cities 2. In this game, you're a city developer who starts off with a tiny town and you build up to make massive cities. You have to progress to unlock new buildings and you can actually watch it being built. You can even see other people's cities. Game 35, Transformers Legends 2. In this game, you choose from many Transformers. You fight other players and the cool part is you can transform into different vehicles. Game 36, No Big Deal. This is a business negotiation shooter in which you must make high-risk deals with other players, and it gets really violent. Your team's goal is to have the most money acquired every round. Game 37, 21. This game is blackjack, but you're tied to a chair and whoever loses the 1v1 gets the big saw headed towards them. How it works is you have to draw cards and get the closest to 21 without going over, because if you do, you... Game 38, Overheat. It's a cool shooter game in which you have to shoot some heads that shoot out burgers and some random NPCs that are fighting you. The animations and movement are super smooth, especially since you can grapple. And there's many weapons to choose from. Game 39, Blox Cards TCG. It's a card simulator game in which you battle people with over 4,000 cards, and I love the art style of the game. Game 40, Blades and Buffoonery. In this game, your goal is to hit people and knock players off the map for head currency. As you knock more people off, you get to buy better weapons which have cool abilities. Game 41, Silbite. This is a single player fighting game with a story. Dodging enemy attacks is the key to winning. You have forgotten your memories and must progress the game to recover them. The game has a great story with dialogues, and I love the art style. Game 42, Pac-Man. This game is Pac-Man on Roblox, but it's 3D and you're being chased, which is super cool and intense. Your goal is to collect all the white orbs before being eaten. Game 43, Time Bomb Madness. In this game, you build bases with other players and strategize to survive time bombs. Or you play as a time bomb whose goal is to explode people and their bases. Game 44, Street Hockey Hardcoded. This is a simple 3v3 hockey game in which you play as a player or a goalie, and it's pretty chill. Game 45, an underground hangout game. In this horror game, you're given a mission to get rid of Cool Kid, the most powerful hacker on Roblox. He has the help of the scariest monsters, and you have to go on a mission to save Roblox. Game 46, Pandora Story. It's an Undertale-inspired RPG game in which something strange has happened at your school. You explore a strange new world by solving puzzles, and there's enemies to fight to progress throughout the story. Game 47, Pilgrimmed. It's an open RPG game with really cool battling and crafting systems. There's many challenging bosses, and there's many different playstyles like melee, archer, and magic. Game 48, Typical Colors 2. It's a shooter game with 2 different teams competing, in which there are 9 different classes. There are many game modes like Capture the Flag and Control Points. The game is basically Team Fortress 2 but on Roblox. Game 49, Run on the Moon. In this game, you build your own lunar terrain vehicle and deliver many types of cargo to stations located around the moon. Game 50, Oaklands. In this game, you chop trees, process lumber, mine rocks, create buildings, and explore the map. You can also buy new cars to drive faster and have more space for wood. Game 51, Crimson Shadows. In this game, there are 3 roles: killer, sheriff, and civilian. The killer's job is to eliminate his assigned target while avoiding suspicion, while the sheriff's job is to find and kill the murderer before he eliminates his target. The civilians also have to help find out who the killer is. Game 52, Courtroom Shenanigans. In this game, you participate in a trial as a judge, defendant, witness, and so much more. The game even has voice chat, which makes it super fun. Game 53, Kill NPCs with Doom Music. In this game, you absolutely destroy NPCs with many unique weapons. There's a bunch of different NPCs, and your goal is to increase your kill count. Game 54, How's Your Day? This is a really relaxing game in which you play as a late night barista at a cozy coffee spot. You serve coffee and have meaningful conversations about life, with every person chatting about their own unique struggle. Game 55, Terminal. This is an escape room game in which you're put in life or death scenarios, like escaping a train before it reaches the end of the tracks, by completing puzzles and decoding messages. Game 56, Be Dead Forever Simulator. In this game, you make money by killing yourself. Sounds weird, but it's actually fun. You must find many ways to die, like getting run over by a car, tricking someone into killing you, or Game 57, Examination. It's a horror shooter in which you're tasked with clearing out a nuclear facility. Your goal is to not die, and the game is super brutal. Game 58, Judgment Day. It's a horror game in which you wake up to find out Judgment Day is near, and you must tidy up before God arrives. It's super creepy and has a good, bad, and secret ending. Game 59, Skyclimb Utopia EXE. It's a sci-fi adventure story game in which humanity has gone extinct for 10,000 years, and clones were created to repopulate Earth. There's a bunch of parkour to go through using robots, and it's pretty cool. Game 60, Plane Crazy. This is a building game in which you make planes. You can make the craziest mechanical builds, or go even more complex and build a mech with plane parts. Game 61, Super Scuffle. This is a cartoony fighting game where you fight other players by exploring the game and finding new silly weapons. And I love the art style. Game 62, Amazing. In this game, you work a job at Amazon. You bring the packages to your truck and drive around the city delivering packages. You can also restock shelves in the warehouse. Game 63, No More Time. It's a fast-paced parkour game, but your goal is to survive and not get caught behind. You have to save the weak and carry them to safety and use abilities to get ahead. Game 64, Eternal Towers of Hell. This game is like Tower of Hell, but with many worlds, from easy worlds to super difficult ones. If you're good at parkour, this game is for you. Game 65, Depth Spelunking. It's a roguelike horror game in which you're in an underground facility, but monsters lurk inside, and your goal is to descend floors while completing tasks. The monsters get aggressive and spawn more based on the floor you're on. Game 66, Monster Employer. In this game, you live in a world of monsters and have been assigned to give jobless monsters work. You encounter different monsters like Happy, sad, scary, and gross monsters. Game 6-7, Parking Simulator. This is a car parking game in which you have to park your car perfectly. There are a bunch of levels, and you can even change your vehicle. Game 68, Alternate Battlegrounds. This is an Undertale style battleground game in which you fight with Undertale characters. The abilities in the game are also Undertale ones. Game 69, Monday Morning Misery. This game is Friday Night Funkin', but on Roblox. It's a rhythm game in which you hit arrow keys on the perfect timing. And there's multiplayer too, so you can go against real players. Game 70, Cornerstone Arcade. It's an arcade game in which you play with hundreds of working arcade machines. You even win tickets and buy prizes. Game 71, Noob Smacker. In this game, you click and drag yourself to fight more than 100 noobs. As you fight, you get more noobs which have armor or that are titans. Game 72, Journey to the Sun. It's an adventure obby game set in the high sky filled with floating islands. As you progress, you receive magical powers like increasing your speed and jump high. Game 73, Late to School. In this game, you wake up late at 7:58 a.m. and you only have 2 minutes to reach a school before being late. There's 18 different endings to unlock based on your gameplay. Game 74, Get a Snack at 4 a.m. It's a single player game in which you wake up at 4 a.m. to sneak around and eat snacks. You explore various locations outside your house, and there are more than 14 different endings. Game 75, Prototype. In this game, you play as a game tester, but the character inside the game warns you about the developer and the game. It's beautiful and has a really cool story, which I won't spoil. Game 76, Generic Roleplay Game. It's a town role-playing game in which you choose various roles, such as a doctor, criminal, and much more. There's also many activities to do, like farming and cutting down trees. Game 77, 10.06. It's a psychological horror in which it's your birthday and you're searching for your missing friend. You and your friend group look for them, but then later you find some disturbing stuff. Game 78, Transparent. It's a psychological horror game where you get to chat with a person named Sam. While chatting, you get to choose the messages, whether it's to be honest or dishonest to be better friends. Game 79, Randomly Generated Droids. It's a roguelike game in which every level is randomly generated, so every time you play, it's never the same. You have to fight your way through levels filled with bots. There's lots of classes to choose from, each with different weapons. Game 80, Rogue Blade. In this game, you fight waves of enemies with different classes. After every wave, you choose upgrades, and I love how chill and classic it feels. Game 81, Infossy. In this game, you play as creatures called Glaggers. Your goal is to kill creatures called Infossians who disguise themselves as Glaggers trying to take over, and you also have to protect the monument. There's also boss fights, and it's easier and fun with friends. Game 82, Billatro. This is Billatro but on Roblox. It's a card-based strategy game, but you have to defeat bosses to progress. Game 83, Demonology. In this game, you play as ghost hunters and identify evil spirits haunting your job site. You use evidence tools like a video camera and thermometer. It's like Phasmophobia but on Roblox. Game 84, Lexington and Conquer. It's a war game based on historical American conflicts and has maps based on real events. You can choose from different classes to fight and can customize your character. Game 85, Noob Exterminators. In this game, you're an exterminator hired to clear out homes that are filled with noobs. To do this, you have to kick down doors, beat noobs up, and blow up buildings. You also have to sell enough bodies, otherwise you will be fired. Game 86, Random Rumble. In this game, you fight people with a random set of weapons and even a random movement ability. It's super intense and has so many gears. Game 87, Tornado Alley Ultimate. It's a natural disaster game, but the main disasters are tornado themed. There's also many types of tornadoes, like fire tornadoes and so much more. Game 88, Dinosaur Island Lab Breakout. In this story game, dinosaurs have escaped from a lab, and you play as a marine or a scientist, and your goal is to survive the chaos. Game 89, Noobs in Combat. It's a strategy game in which you command noobs to defeat players. It's like war but strategy based, and as you progress, you unlock more units. Game 90, Visionary Squad. This game is a combination of a defense and first-person shooter. One player chooses to strategize perks, while the other players play as the defenders themselves on the ground and fight. Your goal is to protect the statue, and it's super unique. Game 91, Industrialist. It's a factory construction game. You plan and upgrade the systems, research new technology, and keep control of pollution level. Game 92, Save Robloxia. In this game, you select a fighter and attack zombies that are trying to invade the maps. The game is set on destroyed classic maps, and your goal is to save Robloxia and restore the place. Game 93, The Quest for the Legendary Bloxy Cola. It's an RPG game in which you wake up with no memories in a magical world, and you're set on a mission to find the legendary Bloxy Cola before the king's servant finds it. You're on this journey with a partner too, and it's like Block Tales but more underrated. Game 94, Nullscape. It's a platformer game where you have to collect presents across a randomly generated map while trying to avoid enemies. Everyone has to collect every present to win the round, and after each round you get to choose one of 3 upgrades for the next one. Game 95, Drifting on a Brick. In this game, you race and drift on a brick. You get to upgrade certain parts of your brick, and it's super chill. Game 96, Death in the Box. In this game, 16 players compete to be the last one standing, facing random events and cards to survive. There's a clown who directs the game, presenting guns, knives, bombs, and cards to players. Your goal is to be the last one standing to win. Game 97, Abyssal. It's a unique obby platformer game, but you can rewind time. The game looks beautiful and is really cool. Game 98, Wizard West. In this game, you play as a wizard and defeat NPCs for money. With the money, you can buy new spells and skins. And I love the flying in this game. Game 99, Planet Clicker 2. This is a clicking simulator, but you click to explore beautiful pixel planets, and you purchase space technologies to earn more. Game 100, Derelict. This is an RPG game which doesn't even look like Roblox. You gather materials to craft your own armor and cook your own food. As you level up, you explore a ton of different worlds to fight tough bosses. This video took me more than hundreds of hours to make, so please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy.